running towards the end of our time together, and so I think I'm going to ask you what is probably the scariest question in your campaign. You're running in this primary against someone who has been in office for a good long time. It seems to have a very reliable amount of support as, a slightly more moderate Democrat than some. And he has, not to put too fine of a point on it, raised approximately 50 times as much money in this campaign as you have, which, we all like to believe money doesn't matter, but we all know that at some level it does. So how would your presence in Congress be different than your opponents, and why should people vote for you?
Congressman Kind is very adapted, in my appreciation, to the system that we see at play in Washington, D.C. He's very good at being a member of that system. We have in our political system, our function, the crazy campaign financing system that allows people with a lot of wealth and power to have an overload of influence through campaign financing. And then we run campaigns that are not so much interviews to help people learn about candidates, but have become more like marketing wars or social engineering wars. Who can use the most resources to convince people to vote for something that they really haven't had much chance to get very honestly informed about. And so with that kind of system, a lot of money does help you to get reelected. But I offer an alternative, and I believe that when you enter a campaign, it is a public good, because we need to have a conversation about what kind of leadership we want to have. And people who make those choices, when they hire their representative, they need to know who these people are that they're considering to hire. And so it has to be a much more open opportunity for conversation and exchange of ideas like we're doing today, and not so much just a high-powered, expensive marketing battle of one team against the other. So I have no intention and never will participate in that activity of taking money from, for example, political action committees and large corporations. I certainly will always strive to rely upon just the common person to make an offering, to make a little sacrifice for the sake of their democracy. And I think the best solution would to have publicly financed campaigning, so that a candidate who is eligible and viable, a reasonable candidate by whatever choice means we have to make, then becomes eligible for public financing, because it is a public good to run honest, open conversation between candidates, so that we can support our exercise of our democratic right and duty of choosing those people who we believe will listen to them carefully and take their values and their beliefs into the sausage factory, as somebody says, where we establish policy to reflect those values.